Pixels in the animation has now left the Mushroom Kingdom, paisans, to enter the realm of Hyrule in episodes 16 through 20 of PETA. Join TV's Mr. Neil and TFG1 Mike as they are going through the classic, and I'm actually have my fingers in the air and making air quotes when we say classic, Legend of Zelda the Animated Series. This time around, a special guest joins the guys for the Zelda reviews. It's the famed Ender from Radio Free Cybertron. And the Pullback. So tune in and help us find the pixels in the animation, which you can find on iTunes and www.geekcastradio.com. Excuse us, listeners.
Hello, everybody. My name is Michael Powers. This is Off the Cuff, episode 20, not 26. Oh my dear Lord!
Good
I need
job.
to update this. Hang on. Let me try that again.
Very professional. Blooper.
Hello, everybody. My name is Michael Powers. This is Off the Cuff, episode 31. Everyone, give us a round of applause for getting this far.
Yay! 31. Not the same as 26.
Nope, it's not. This week we've got Joe to talk about a 3DS. We've got some Grand Theft Auto 5 online talk.
Yay! I also beat the single player.
Let's see, what else do we have?
Can't say a word.
I won't spoil it.
We've got listener feedback from last week.
Say what?
And something new that I'm going to try to do. We've got the video game releases for October 17th.
I thought you were going to say be funny.
Actually, no. Is it October 17th? No, it's October 22nd.
You are horrible with numbers.
Wait a minute. No, this is really stupid. There is nothing coming out next week, apparently.
That'll be a really short segment, Mike.
Yep, it will. Why? What is going on?
What's coming out next week? Nothing.
Yep,
back to you.
Exactly. Okay, so moving on. You have heard the voices of Shanzi Brown.
Hello.
And you've heard the voice of Joe Reed.
Hello.
The sexy voice of Joe Reed.
This week, it would appear that Shanzi has effectively killed Danner.
No, he just has tape over his mouth right now. Totally different.
That's great. That's great.
You sent that box of razor blades back to him at about 150 miles an hour.
Yes. Also taped to the front of a shotgun.
Let's
Want to leave his options open.
So
Kind of like the back of his head. Well,
all right, so let's discuss the listener feedback from last week.
I'm excited.
We brought up the question of microtransactions. We also brought up what is your favorite game, no matter how badly dated it is, that you always love playing. And then there was Joe's question of what current gen game, PS3, 360, or Wii. I also threw the Wii U in there just for S&Gs. Would you use to introduce someone your age to the world of video games who has never played a video game? And then Danner's was, what obscure superhero or supervillain would you like to see get their own video game? So
Penguin.
Dan Clark says, I was always partial to the character Cable from X-Men. You could do an FPS or partner up with his old friend Deadpool. A guy with big guns who travels through time. There is a lot you can do with that as long as you don't get Rob Liefeld to draw him. I've never been a Cable fan. I mean, I like Cable in Deadpool.
Kind of.
I like
Cable
in
showed up in
Deadpool.
that 90s cartoon. That's about when I stopped watching X-Men. Whenever somebody tries to explain who Cable is, I get totally lost.
His is a very complex character. So much shit's going on with him. It's like, what's his power? Oh, he does this. He never uses it though because he has to use it to stop the disease that's turning his body into metal. So he's basically an X-Men that doesn't ever use his powers.
Well, wait a minute.
Just shoots stuff.
But he didn't have that problem until the Phalanx Covenant happened, and then he was inflicted with the techno-organic virus, and that's why that's why his powers are being kept in check.
But when anyone thinks of Cable, they don't think of Cable before him being half metallic. It always.
But Cable was half metallic before the Phalanx thing.
No, that's what his arm. No. That's what the tech. That's why his arm's all metal.
No, I remember in the Fatal Attractions crossover X event in the 90s, Magneto essentially rips him in half, rips the metal part from his body, kind of like what he did to Wolverine. He does the same thing to Cable, only wasn't as traumatic, because Wolverine is a cooler character than Cable.
Well, duh.
But he didn't have the Phalanx Covenant didn't happen until after that, unless I'm completely misunderstanding the character. But my understanding is the Phalanx Covenant attacks metal.
I think they kind of Well, I think the techno-organic virus he has, right? Like he had a metal arm, and that was the way later on of explaining it. It didn't make sense to people.
Well, that's because he's always jumping in and out of time. They don't know when he is.
Yeah, I thought,
exactly. He's his time. He's like fucking Doctor Who. You're never sure exactly what or when is happening where.
I just always assumed the metal arm was future tech. So, but
oh yeah, and he's also the kid of Jean Grey and Scott Summers.
Yeah, which
in the future,
so many.
And then he goes back in time to protect them. He's fucking. It's Terminator, but in X-Men.
But yeah, I can see like a first-person shooter game with him. You know, I mean, you wouldn't actually know that you were. I think it'd be good because you wouldn't actually have to see the character. You'd just see a giant floating gun in a metal hand.
I'm shooting people. That's cool.
But Walking.
Pretty sure he was Master Chief.
Walking Dread. He said movie, but I'm pretty sure he meant how about another Judge Dredd game? Seriously though, a sequel to Dredd is needed for sure. If Guardians of the Galaxy, if Guardians of the Galaxy, I would love to see Silver Surfer get his own movie, or even the Inhumans. The Inhumans could make for a cool TV show as well. I think some of these got mixed up for some reason. There is a Silver Surfer video game, Super Nintendo, I think, like a side-scrolling.
You could play as Silver Surfer in Marvel Ultimate Alliance.
Reskinned California games.
I would have no idea. I was kind of putting that feeler out there for you.
That was a joke.
He was trying to imply that Silver and he was actually surfing on waves. I got you, Joe. It just wasn't
funny. Judge Dredd, though, that's another. I mean, you could do another first-person shooter with just a giant gun.
I think if you were gonna do Judge Dredd as a video game, though, it would have to be third-person and kind of open world because he's a cop. Do like a true crimes, Future City.
But okay,
that's how I see that going.
I'm down for that.
Him getting on the what the hell's the name of the bikes? I can't remember what they're called.
Lawmasters. That's
right.
I think we'll get a Guardians of the Galaxy something.
Yeah, but I really hope it's not like a shitty license game, which it will be.
Of course.
And what it'll be is they'll have all the characters, but you can only play as two of them, just like Fantastic fucking Four.
Connor Murphy says seeing Booster Gold get his own game would be pretty sweet. He is obscure, but has a rather loyal fan base if you look hard enough. Plus, he can be rather complex if he is treated properly. I was actually thinking it would be kind of cool because you would have the little floating companion to help you out, like show you things. I kind of imagined it to be like when you were carrying around GLaDOS and the potato.
Oh God.
Ooh, but that little floating orb could be controlled by your friend on an iPad while he's at work.
Oh, way to tie it in.
Oh yeah.
But it's just Booster Gold. There's no way anybody's gonna sell that to someone like, hey, give me money to make a Booster Gold game. They'll be like, who?
So what?
They'll be like, what the fuck are you talking about? I mean, Deadpool is the most out there superhero that's gotten their own video game. Really?
Oh, and I don't know how they pulled that off either, money wise, funding wise.
All
I know is that to make Booster Gold into a video game, that would just be. And by the end of it, I think everyone would hate Booster Gold.
King of Kong says he would like to see Mr. Sinister get his own game. A mad scientist that always has his hands in different things. But Connor Murphy also followed up with that sentiment, saying he'd like to see a Mr. Sinister character. And Danner said that Sinister was in the Deadpool game, and King of Kong's also followed up with the fact that he was in X-Men Legends as well.
Yeah, he usually he's in X-Men Legends because Sinister is closely tied with what's his face there, Apocalypse.
Yeah,
or whatever.
Yep.
So usually if Apocalypse there's at least something to do with Sinister, and Sinister was like the big baddie of.
Well,
Deadpool.
I'm kind of like heroes for some reason make better game characters than the villains do, because villains for some reason in my head just play as like one-off boss characters. Mm-hmm. I would hate to play as the villain and kill / beat up the heroes. I mean, that would just be a weird role reversal. I mean, be interesting.
And again, that seems more something that would maybe be like an indie game, or like an whatever they're going. Excuse me, I burped. Whatever they're going to call like the Xbox arcade games. I don't see that being made into a feature game.
Right.
I've always wanted to see a game where you were playing from the position of the bad guy, and I don't know how this would work logistically or gameplay wise, but I always wanted to play as Bowser, building my castles so that Mario had to come try and save the princess, and it was my job to stop him.
See, if I was Bowser, though, I would build the flags 1 foot taller than they already are, so you can never hit the flags. Never.
That'd be interesting, a desktop tower defense where you're defending Bowser's castle from Mario.
Heck yeah.
What do you get him? Waves of Mario?
Yeah. Why not? Freddie Savage said he'd like to see a Gambit game. I would like to see a Gambit game as well. I actually liked the was it the Sega Genesis X-Men game that had Gambit? Or was it the Super Nintendo version? I can't remember which one it was.
Yeah, I don't remember that.
One of them has a really cool like Gambit model. Like you were able to play as Wolverine, Gambit, Rogue, a couple of the other characters.
Spider-Man and X-Men game, was it?
Maybe it was. It had arcade. I remember that one. It had arcade was the villain or something like that. Wow, this is really bad. I can't remember. But no, I would like to see a Gambit game. I'd imagine you could do a Gambit kind of like a stealth action game. So
he just whenever I always see him, I don't like him by himself.
I do.
I don't know. I always like when he's with other people. That's cool, but I don't know.
I never liked any of the X-Men enough to care.
Nice, Joe.
Let's see. King of Kong says he still loves the original Donkey Kong and any of the big games of that generation. They are what I love about video games. On the surface, they appear basic, but they are really complicated. Yeah,
no, he's talking the original, like
yes,
Mario jumping over barrels.
Yes.
Okay. Those games I get frustrated with though.
But do you get frustrated with them? Did you used to get frustrated with them, or do you get frustrated with them now?
Well, I think it's more now because it's like, oh, I could be doing. Screw it, I'm going to Los Santos. So something like that where it's like, those games get under my skin way more now. Because it's like this game came out fucking forever ago. I should be able to ace this shit.
Yeah, I don't think that's. Unfortunately, I don't think that's how games work.
I know. It's like, has my skills not gotten better as I've matured as an adult? Technically, my reaction time should be faster. But nope.
He's actually the only one that answered the thing about the old school games. He still likes. No one really cares for microtransactions, which was not much of a surprise.
I don't know
People
why the industry keeps trying.
because
Well,
the
they're
Because
probably
it's a
successful.
successful model, unfortunately.
it works, and it works if you do it the right way. Like one of the references that was brought up here was Mob Wars, which I think Mob Wars is made by the guys that made Life is Magic, or was that Life is Crime? What was their other game? There's Life is Magic, and then there was something else. But I never played
I don't
Mob
know.
Wars. Plato's Lament says he got sucked into the hole that was Mob Wars for a long time. Ended up spending way too much money on it. Those little purchases don't seem like much, but quickly add up. I've sworn
When you
off
look
all.
back, yeah.
I've sworn them all off personally. I ended up wasting way too much money. And see, that's the thing about a free-to-play game is sometimes you don't realize how much money you're actually spending, so the developer can actually get more money from you.
Yeah, but even
That's-
DLC doesn't trick me entirely. I feel awful knowing that I spend $60 to get the game in my house and then a further 25 or 30 to get other content. It just upsets my stomach.
But isn't there like a point where you feel like you've gotten $60 out of it and then you actually are paying for more content?
Rarely. Because I think games are overpriced at 60.
I'm not debating the price of games. I'm just saying, like, even if it was like a $20 game, like, isn't there like a point where you think you've gotten $20 worth of something out of it?
Anything after this is bonus. I've made my money back.
I mean, they were talking about this on Weekend Confirmed. There was a developer that for the iPhone that he did, and this is partially Apple's fault, but Apple has no, and Android doesn't either. They have no upgrade pricing available for their apps. So it's like the team that makes this app, it's called Reader. It was I actually used it for a while before I got rid of my Google Reader account, but basically it helped you sort through RSS feeds and news stories and stuff like that. And I used to use it a lot, and I paid $5 for it once. And I used it a lot, but like I said, I don't use it anymore. Well, they just recently they came out with Reader 2, and instead of upgrading their original app, they started from the ground up, and basically it's the same app that has the same features, but it's like it has a different design to it. It has new features added into it as they're supported by the phone and other such things like that. And they did Reader 2, and they charged another $5 for it. And there's two groups of people on there. One are people that actually paid the $5 because they know the app is worth it, and the other group is people that are like saying the guy is a dick, for trying to make some money. Because the problem with a lot of this, especially with like cell phones and stuff like that, you sell your app once, and that thing is like gone. And it's like if you spend all your time updating and upgrading apps and stuff, your app and stuff like that, yeah, you're not going to make any more money.
Sure, support your original product, great, but at some point you have to move on, or you'll never be able to make an app again.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that's where the free to play model is actually good, is for that kind of thing. So like those games,
like, hey, if you like how this is going, where it's heading, keep supporting us.
I mean, I think my sister has spent $2 or $3 on the Candy Crush game.
I've never spent anything on that so far.
Allie has not spent anything on it either, but they all bang their heads against the wall when there's a level that they can't pass, and they keep doing it until they get past the level. But I haven't touched Candy Crush.
Both the greatest and worst feelings ever. Get stuck on a level for like 4 days, and you're like, oh, and then you beat it, and you're like, you beat it first try, and you're like, yes. You to the next level and just lose all your lives in the next one. You're like, no. Like,
but the whole microtransaction discussion for me came from the fact that there's like 4 or 5 free to play games coming to the PlayStation 4, and one of those is War Thunder, and I haven't been able to check my account, but I've easily put more than probably 30-40 hours in that game, and I've spent $40 on it, and it's been that $40 has been totally worth it. Like I could easily, and I've said it before, I could easily spend another $20 before I started questioning putting any more money into it, because I definitely feel like I've gotten $60 worth out of it already.
And Grand Theft Auto Online keeps reminding me with tips that I can go buy fake money with real money, and
Which you can't yet, right?
No, you can't.
tries to tell me. I guess I haven't even bothered to check.
I think it's just one of the tips that just randomly pops up, but it's not. They took it. They don't want it on there yet because everybody's having such problems with their characters and stuff. They
Yeah,
actually
no
changed
kidding.
one of the pro tips that pops up on loading screens that says now it's anybody listening, here's your public service announcement right now. If you try to load in and it tells your character's not there, don't start another character. Back out to the story and reload. Your character will probably pop back up. If you start a temporary character or you start a new character or you do the play without saving thing, it will erase whatever you had before. If you just back out and come back in, you'll probably find your guy right there.
There's some quality programming.
Yeah. Well, they're trying to fix it. I mean, like every fucking massive, online game, they always suck at the beginning. And they didn't.
Yeah, growing pains.
And they didn't want to put up that I spend actual money to get $100,000 for my character, come back in, my character be wiped.
So what did we figure out the increments were? They're like 1 to 500, 100,000, 200,000, 500,000, and 1,250,000.
Something like that.
I think that, but I haven't been able to find like a pricing structure.
How much they cost.
But I think it's like $1, $2, $5, and $10.
Well, as long as it's taking me to earn money, I mean, I'm dying to have player housing with a closet and a one-car garage, and I think it's going to be a long time till I can find anything more than just a garage in that game. So it's like, should I spend the money just to have a place to
80 grand, man. 80, 90 grand. That's how much it costs for an apartment.
80 or 90?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm floating around.
Does not take that long, actually. A lot of the missions.
Let's wait until we get to Grand Theft Auto Online.
Okay, sorry. I'm sorry. Please don't be mad at me.
We've only got a few more.
Okay.
But yeah, everyone was kind of
our viewers.
Let's see. King of Kongs. He says, "I hate microtransactions so much. You spend so much money, and for what exactly? There's no chance of winning or closure. Just more reasons to spend more money." What I agree with that.
My views of microtransactions is I shouldn't be able to buy something with microtransactions that I couldn't get by myself with just hard work and dedication.
I totally agree with that one.
Oh, do you want to play this bonus mission? Well, you have to pay us or you won't. It's like, no, it should be, hey, this is a shortcut. You don't have to take it. You could totally spend a couple hours doing this and you'll totally come back to it.
Yeah,
but if you want to do it right now.
The microtransactions I don't care for are the ones where you're allowed. I think Candy Crush kind of does this. Maybe again, I don't know. I'm trying to think of a game that does where it's like you hurry up and do a bunch of stuff, and then it's like you've got to come back in 15 hours, or you can pay a little bit right now, and you can
that's
continue.
What Candy Crush is.
And I think
Candy Crush, it's lives.
Tapped Out does that too, doesn't it?
Well, Tapped Out does it with the donuts. It depends.
Right. So yeah,
that's just, it's kind of like you send people to do jobs, and you can have them do them immediately by getting donuts. You can also earn donuts in the game. You just earn them much slower.
Right. But that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't like that kind of, like, that's the kind of microtransaction I don't like. The microtransaction that I really do like, that I'm okay with, is the one that's like I keep saying, the one that's in War Thunder, because that's the one that I'm most used to. And it seems like that's the one that's kind of in Grand Theft Auto, where it's just like you're buying money and it's not unlocking anything in the game. Like, you still have to be the right level to be able to buy certain guns. It's not like you can jump ahead, but it's just giving you, like, you don't have to play as much you don't have to invest as much time to get the apartment that, like, Joe wants. And like like, I could totally see a free to play Call of Duty coming. Using the War Thunder.
What, you play for, and what would you be paying for then, you think?
I think it'd be like what you do with War Thunder, where you're like, you've got the like, you can grind out your experience, right? But if you get a premium account, you get double the experience every time.
Mm-hmm.
I can totally
that's
see
what
that
Elite is almost, isn't
it? It is, but Elite isn't a thing anymore. Elite is free.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is that so they're gonna have Elite and something else? Premium Elite.
Well, no, it wouldn't be Elite. It would just be a premium account. I mean, and but the game would also be free. Like you wouldn't have to pay like $60 or $40 for the multiplayer. You just sign online and download the game and you start playing. And you can work it out, you can grind it out and stuff like that. But nope, I think that was it for the feedback. So we'll move on. Do you guys want to talk about Grand Theft Auto Online now?
Grand Theft Auto.
Whee! It kind of finally works a little bit, kind of.
I've had significantly less problems with it the last few days.
I have to say I've been having a lot of fun with it, and that's only because I get to ride around with Joe.
Playing with people is definitely the way to play the game.
I have no desire to play with strangers. I just don't trust them.
Except on playgrounds, then he's all about the strangers.
I remember, I don't know if it was in the recording the other night, but Joe had to get his car from the impound lot, and we pulled up and he jumped over the fence, and at the same time 2 other players came around the corner and they were like playing a game of grab ass. And I was like, oh Joe, we gotta go, there's 2 people right here, we gotta get out of here, they're gonna kill us.
You do have those tense moments where you come across another player, like, are these people gonna be cool? Are they gonna fuck up what I'm trying to do right now? I always run into them when I'm trying to deliver a car to Simeon.
That's right.
And I've already repaid it, and I've been driving careful so that I get the most money. And some people have now, I noticed this the other day, sometimes people will hang around Simeon's thing, kill you, take the car and deliver it.
Oh.
That's horrible.
I have noticed when Joe and I were like, getting dropped in and out of the game together, around his spot there were a bunch of cars just sitting in the middle of the road without people in them. It was really weird. They were not really like high profile cars or anything like that, but they were there. Just kind of, it's like, this is kind of eerie. Why are these cars just abandoned in the turn lane? So I don't know. I'm having a lot of fun with it. I like the whole, like, we're gonna drive around. I'm gonna pull up to this convenience store, and Joe's gonna go inside and rob the place, and then we're gonna go off roading while we try and get away from the cops.
Yeah, it's always fun. What's the most amount of stars you guys have gotten it up to?
3.
Got up to 4 yesterday. Utterly terrifying.
If you want an instant 5-star, go to the military base.
No, we did this we went and robbed a convenience store, and the guy took one of our buddies took a jerry can and then lit the store on fire. The store doesn't burst into flames, but the flame trail went in and got the clerk. Caught him ablaze.
Well, ever since I got shot in the back by the clerk as I'm leaving the store, I now shoot clerks as soon as I'm done.
You know what I do? I don't shoot the clerk. I've never actually killed the clerk. What I do is I did notice that they start shooting at you, but if you walk out backwards,
pointing at them, they won't pull a gun.
Yeah, and they won't follow you out of the store. It's just when
you turn around.
Yeah. So it's like you have to be like situationally aware of where you are in the store, and you can just walk out backwards and get to your car before they start shooting at you.
All right, I can do that. I feel less like a dirtbag.
But 4 stars is goddamn almost impossible to get rid of.
You're talking about online, right?
Oh yeah.
The cops in Grand Theft Auto 5 anyways are the most ridiculous cops ever.
They're relentless.
Has anyone ever been arrested?
No, don't do it. If you have the option, die.
Well, no, but I mean, I've never been arrested. I've never even been. They always kill me.
Yep.
I've been killed by a cop on 1 star.
It depends on what you're doing.
Is it if you don't have a gun out, will they?
If whatever, like, say you just pulled a guy out of a car and took their car. When they chase you, they'll try to spin you out. But say I shoot the driver, then they'll start shooting at me. I don't know if it's a violent crime or how they determine, but there's definitely instances where they were not trying to shoot me and I had multiple stars. But the second you pull a gun, oh yeah, they'll smoke you. But it was 3 of us, and I had just bought an armor on my car. Thank God, I think it's the only reason most of us lived. So I'm driving away, and my car is riddled with. There is almost no paint left. That's just bullet holes everywhere. Driving away, and we have a helicopter on us. I'm like, I can't get away with that goddamn helicopter there. So the two guys in the back start unloading into the helicopter, and I just hear this explosion. Like, yeah, we got it. And then in front of me, 3 helicopters came out of nowhere. I'm like, this has not gotten better at all.
Out of the frying pan.
So I'm like, okay, guys, because when you're in a car with someone and you set a waypoint, the driver sees the waypoint, which is cool. So you can have someone navigating. So yeah, I'm driving. I'm like, I'm driving. I'm like, I can't stop to look at my map, guys. You just tell me where the hell to go. So he's like, I'm like, does anybody know where there's a parking garage? Because that's usually the easiest way to lose a cop.
Yep, I found that.
Yep,
I've found the easiest way to lose a cop is going a straight line, because eventually you'll go someplace they won't go.
Not if there's helicopters.
I've outrun helicopters in a straight line before.
Have you outrun 3 of them?
If you can outrun one, you can outrun 3 of them. The Mustang that I drive,
I would get in front of them, and then more would just spawn in front of me. So it's like I'm constantly going.
That's just cheating.
So I'm like, okay, we need to find one. So I'm driving and I see one. I'm like, okay, quick, somebody mark that on the map. I'm gonna make a big loop and come back to it because I'm trying to get some distance on these cops. So I got in there, and my health is like nothing. And one lucky cop got a bullet that hit me somewhere between my eyeballs. So I'm going up a ramp and they shoot me. Now what's funny is sometimes when you shoot the driver of a vehicle, he dies and falls onto the gas pedal. So all of a sudden I see the car take off with my 2 buddies inside. They're going, whoa, what are you doing? I'm like, dudes, I'm dead. I have nothing. Good luck. So it drives, smashes into a wall, and they get up. They both run around the corner. One doesn't get out quite quick enough, gets run over by a SWAT van. He dies. 3rd one gets away, scot clean. He just goes up and rounds the corner, and the cops are all busy with all the mayhem and stuff. They never go up enough floors to reach him. He gets away just fine. So I spawn in the area, and as soon as I see him, I shoot him, and I take his money. Because he's my buddy. That's what we do.
I think the most fun I've had in it was, I think the first night Joe and I were able to play online for an extended period of time. And I had found what is the equivalent of the Ford GT50. And, you know, I said that I take a straight line and I drive it because the cops won't follow me. Usually that involves some off-roading. And
good off-road car you got there.
Yeah, I took it up. I was flying up this mountain, just flying up it. And Joe was like, you know, watch yourself as you crest the hill, you'll go flying. And almost as soon as he said it, that's when I hit the top of the hill. And the car went soaring over the other side of the mountain.
The mountain disappeared out from under this car. I'm looking down and I see ants and little black dots that look like cars on the highway down there.
And we're soaring, and then he goes, you know, these explode when they hit the ground. And
from such a height. Oh yeah.
As soon as he said ground, the car did connect with the ground, and it exploded. And I was like, that didn't so much explode as it just popped. Like the car just ceased to exist. I'm almost wondering if it would be possible to get a parachute and do that same
car?
Well, not sail the car, but do that same thing.
No, bail.
Jump out.
Oh, okay.
Bail out of the car.
I thought you were saying sail out of the car.
Okay, Mike, next time we're online, we've got to go get parachutes and do that.
You have to be at a high enough level to unlock them.
You can't just buy them?
No.
You have to. It's like level. I just got them unlocked. I want to say it's like level 14, 15 maybe.
Oh, dear, that's far away.
Oh my God! Remove the tampon, Jesus.
But yeah,
I don't know about cars, but you can definitely bail out of like motorcycles and stuff like that. So I would guess yes. The problem would be jumping out of the car without getting hit by the car. It depends on if he's going to jump out of the car or just roll out like they sometimes do. Because I think if you touch anything, it breaks your ability to free fall. So then you just have a slow fall to your death.
Also, well, I think this is something we need to try.
Yes. I totally agree with that. I'm having a lot more fun. Like I have fun driving around the game, and I'm having a lot more fun customizing my car than I thought I would.
See, I would do that. I'm just afraid of it deleting because I've already had it delete my character and car once. I don't want to do that again. So I'm just kind of gonna wait until it's more stable.
I mean, if it's gonna delete your character anyways, you're gonna lose that money. So.
But I've actually gotten kind of lucky with this bad save system going on right now.
I've never had a problem.
Well, first of all, I was losing money. I would jump in and I'd play online for a little bit, and I'd make like $8,000, and I'd leave and I'd come back and I'd have $2,000 in the bank and 1,000 on my character, which means all the money was gone. But the nice thing that I noticed what was happening is I would lose, like I bought a tracker for my Mustang, but I never bought insurance on it.
Whoops.
And I would eventually, in the course of my playing, the car would get trashed and I'd end up losing it. Well, when I would leave and I would come back, I would lose all that money, but I'd get my car back.
He's like, worth it.
So to me, it was like kind of a fair trade-off. Not that I can't just go and find another car, but now, everything's stable. I bought insurance on my car.
I have something fun for you guys to try. If you go up to the Hickville where Trevor lives in the single player, you can get golf carts. Or if you go to a golf course, you can get golf carts. You can drive those into the stores, the convenience stores that you can rob. You'll go right through the doors.
And they don't close the store like they do whenever I try to walk into Sotheby's, the clothing store thing with cops on me.
No, I mean, well, if you have the cops on you, well, but I've literally parked the thing in, got up, robbed the guy, got in, and then backed right out the doors.
Joe,
we need to. You only go like 15 miles an hour.
We need to go golf karting when this is over.
It's
okay.
Fun.
So,
it's
been good, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Yeah, well, you have to talk about the 3DS before we can let them go.
Woo!
Woo! I will say one thing about it though.
For Grand Theft Auto, the online stuff, they're the missions, the little circular things that are either the races or deathmatch. I haven't had as much fun with those as I've had with the story missions.
Jobs.
And then beyond that, the overworld map is fun to run around in, but I've been frustrated on more than one occasion with getting killed by the random people that are running around. And I had fun with one of them last night. I log in and I'm just standing there. I'm going to get a pop from the kitchen. I come back and some dirtbag is shooting me. Shoot, and I dead. All right, so I respawn at the hospital and I'm walking around outside the hospital. And as it's loading in, I hit the safe mode thing because I'm not ready to sit down and play yet. The same douchebag comes up to me and starts unloading clips into me. And I kind of look at him because now I'm safe mode and I can't be killed. I go and jump and he gets in his car and he tries to start running me down. And I just jump up on this little concrete curb where the car can't get. He gets out of his car frustrated, like, why can't I kill this guy? I jump on top of his car and I'm just looking at him. He's still trying to shoot me. He hasn't figured it out yet, but either way, it felt good. And eventually he drove away because he realized he wasn't going to kill me. But I almost wonder, and I guess this is where all of this was leading. I have one of two solutions to that because, you guys have had problems, or well, Sean, you've had problems with trying to drive cars back and they wait there to kill you with it.
Oh, yeah.
At the dealership. But do you think that the lobby, the big open world, should be a passive mode and that you should have to pay to activate, or maybe go into a different server where it's a free-for-all? Or I don't know, because I'm looking at the death matches thinking if I want to go kill other players, I'm going to go play a multiplayer death match. But if I'm outside of that and I'm doing the story missions, which happen in the lobby, basically what is the lobby for all those other missions, I have to put up with those other players who are just trying to poop on my day.
I guess I haven't experienced that, but I wouldn't want something that would get in my way of, the hijinks ensues when I accidentally pistol whip you once and you die. When we're chasing down the hooker.
You guys know how to party. I'll say I had
we had her out in the middle of nowhere.
As you do with hookers. One of the funnier things was I joined a game where two of my other crew members were at, but we weren't right next to each other. And I just hear one of them go like, this asshole won't leave me alone. And it's like him and this guy are going back and forth because the guy wants to take his car, because his car that he starts with is like this nice muscle car. And the guy wanted that car. He wanted him dead and to steal his car. So he's like trying to run away. So we all kind of converge on this one dude. So this one dude is picking on our buddy because he's a higher level. So he's got better guns. When you get to higher levels, you can unlock more armor. So then...
Oh, if it's one of those types of games, I'm going to
So
be
as
pissed.
soon as we get close, he sees this all going on. He turns on passive mode. Like he dies once, or he's trying to kill, so he dies once, turns on passive mode, but is still trying to take the car. And I know that I can still run him over and kill him. I can't shoot him, but I can run him over. So we proceed to just keep tagging him with our cars. 3 cars just on one dude on foot. Running back and forth, hitting this guy over and over and over. Just and it became a game. It was like, okay, if you open your door at the right time, like try to like exit the car and just hit him with the door. And it became this game of like who could get the best kill on this guy.
Are you actually killing him when you're running him over?
You're hurting him.
Okay.
You're hurting him. He's falling down, but then he'll get back up and run away, and like his health will come back, so you'll clip him again. If you hit him fast enough, oh yeah, it kills him. Kills him bad. And then I have to give the win to my buddy because we were kind of like on like an overpass, and he like power slid into the guy, and the guy went. I don't think the car hitting him killed him, but definitely the fall did. Because it was just like a long fall, and the beauty part of it is because you respawn in like a whatever area around where you died, and it was like far enough away that when the guy respawned, he was now like 200 feet below us, so he couldn't do anything about us. We just drove away.
Can you paint the golf carts?
I don't know. Can you respray them?
Let's go to a respray shop when we're done with this.
Oh,
I'm not sure. I do know is I just got the I'm wearing my crew's symbol on the back of my leather jacket. So I'm badass.
How do you make the symbol, or is it in game?
I don't know. They made it. I didn't make it. But you can go to like a shop and just you select the same, or you go to crew logo. It's like a separate option in clothing shops. And just put it on. I put it on the leather jacket that my guy was already wearing, so it wasn't like I had to get a special one or anything.
Side note: apparently, Joe and I's characters are twins.
Twigs.
That was an accident.
Twins.
Twins.
We both have the same hairstyle.
Not creepy at all.
We're distantly related, and we both wear glasses.
Don't worry, one car accident, those glasses will be gone.
I keep mine.
And definitely wear masks.
I don't want to cover up my pretty face.
I've learned that taking the mask off and putting the mask on have the same effect.
I
rob a store with no mask on when you're driving away. Say you have 2 stars. Put the mask on when nobody's looking. You drop down to 1 star. And if you're at 1 star, putting the mask on will erase it.
Huh. Maybe I'll have to go buy a mask.
But robbing a store with no mask, that store starts to learn your face.
So is that why there's a check mark?
A check mark is ones you've been to, ones you've robbed.
Right. I understand that.
And but it doesn't
mean you can rob them again.
Yeah, you can rob them again. You can continually rob them. But like it puts the check mark on it even if you've robbed it with a mask. But if you keep doing without a mask, as soon as you walk in the store, cops are on you. You already have stars. Instead of they already go into that panic mode.
I've learned that like robbing a convenience store is not nearly as lucrative as stealing someone's car and selling it.
As anything else in that game? Yeah.
I haven't figured out where to sell the cars yet.
You take them to this paint and sprays.
Any paint and spray.
Really?
Yep.
Just go into that little interactive menu by holding the back button and go to the GPS and go to mod shop. It'll take you to the closest one.
So, all right, Joe. I'm kind of itching to go play GTA Online. Do you want to talk about the 3DS? I mean, I've had one since
ever
May, and I have not talked about it.
All right.
So
I had a decent geek sale 2 or 3 weeks ago. I've lost count. October 5th. Not as lucrative as many.
October 5th? That would be 3 days ago. Or 4 days ago.
No,
was September 5th?
Yes.
October 5th? Yes.
It was this weekend?
Yeah, it was this past weekend. Yeah.
Oh my God. It feels like an eternity ago.
Where did
See
you
what
go?
happens when he plays GTA?
What day
is it?
Time does
Every
not
day
pass.
I spend in Grand Theft Auto game time feels like a day in real life, I guess.
I was gonna say time does not pass that fast in real life, Joe.
Man, that's good. That means
been 45 minutes, so it's been a day. So.
I haven't missed any birthdays or anything. Well, the Geek Sale was okay, and I immediately started looking for a 3DS because, Mike, you had to show me about A Link Between Worlds, Legend of Zelda: Link Between Worlds, and yeah, I think that's worth playing. And I'd found some cheap prices on 3DSs, so I spent my Geek Sale money on one, and I tracked down some cheap games. But I think I'm more impressed with this thing. I've got it in my hands now. I'm more impressed with this thing than I was even when I thought I wanted one. Now I'm pretty sure it's cool. Some of the things that are way more exciting than I thought is actually that 3D camera, the 3D video and still camera. I've taken some beautiful photographs, and it's halfway sad to know that I can't ever print these out and enjoy them hanging on a wall. I mean, there's going to be a movement someday where we can have flat, static 3D displays that don't need to be powered, and there will be a whole genre of 3D photography because it adds something really neat to it, to still photography. And I've taken some really gorgeous things. I'm wondering if I could, and maybe you guys know, if I can export that somehow to my 3D TV.
No, because I think it has to do with well, maybe, I don't know. I'll look into it. But I think that has to do with how the 3DS actually provides the 3D. But I could be completely wrong. I do know that there is an actual 3D camera, but I'm not sure that it's an actual like. I'm not sure how it works. But
Can only be viewed with 3DSs kind of thing.
I can look into it though, because I know it just takes standard flash cards. So
yeah, the SD card's right here, and all the pictures are saved on it, so it can't be too hard. I'm pretty sure you can export 2D photographs or drag them off, but I don't know what file. I haven't looked at what file format they're stored at to know. But it would be outstanding if I could put that SD card reader thing, plug it into my television, and look at those in 3D on the TV. They're going to be in terrible resolution, I'm sure. But
yes, well, technically, you should be able to take any image and put it on your TV and display it in 3D.
What?
Your TV can do a 2D to 3D conversion.
Yeah, it does that poorly. But yes, I've found that somewhere in there. All of the little Nintendo free things that are on here are exquisite. All the built-in hardware and some of the free things that you can download through the Nintendo shop. The little Face Raiders game, I played that when the 3DS first came out at the store. In the demo unit, I played it. But where I'm just paging through here, lots of neat advertising things, which I'm actually not annoyed by. One thing I'm most incredibly surprised by, I didn't even know that my 3DS did this till last night, is Netflix. And I know you guys have smartphones, so you're used to being able to carry Netflix everywhere with you, but man, having Netflix
no one uses Netflix on their phone.
That's amazing. I totally am excited.
I use it on my iPad, but not my phone.
Jenny's gone to bed watching what's that show you watch, Mike?
Gossip Girl.
Yeah. She's been watching that in bed on her phone, which blows my mind. And then I queued up Top Gear and started watching that in bed.
Even less of a reason to talk to your wife now.
I know, right? But there's the pedometer on here that earns you coins, that you can use the coins to buy games on the system. I think it's mostly not really buying games, but unlocking games that are already there. But I think there's just lots of weird interconnectivity. I can't wait to take the Street Pass out and see if anybody out there has their 3DS with it.
We should Street Pass, Joe. I should come over and run
totally
myself up against you.
Ooh.
I'm passing you on the street. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it'd be much as passing as you pulling over to the corner where Joe is standing and honking your horn twice.
I have unfortunately I went all digital with the 3DS. But I bought it when I was in Hawaii, and they didn't have a lot of they didn't have very good internet in the room. So I actually ended up buying, I have Luigi's Mansion and I have Lego City Undercover.
I heard that Lego City Undercover is good.
I okay, here's the thing. I was excited for Lego City Undercover on the Wii U, but obviously I got rid of my Wii U and they were releasing it on the 3DS. The problem is I got it on the 3DS and I'm like, man, I wish I had my Wii U so I could play this on there. Mainly because the draw distance is atrocious. Um, but other than that, no, it was fun. I can let you borrow either one of them. I highly recommend Luigi's Mansion.
I would buy that one. The $40 price tag that kind of hurts, and I'm $30 is the most that I would pay for a really awesome game. I took a look at the Ocarina of Time, which even though I've played many times and already beaten, and I don't know, it looked so good that I might play that again.
So,
and I just hope the controls are better than the N64, or no, than the GameCube port that came out.
so what do
Because
you
that was awful.
what games do you have for it?
I found Tetris dirt cheap, the Tetris thing, and it's just a Tetris game. I'm probably going to trade that one back in because the Tetris DS that I bought fills that hole, and the only 3D stuff that really happens with it is some bad augmented reality thing.
Whoa.
Picked up. Actually, I bought the submarine game. What's that?
No idea.
He doesn't know every game that came out for the DS.
Yeah, it was one of the launch titles. I found it for $5, and I
Is
picked
it like
that up.
Deep
and I've had
Dive or
that.
something like that?
Steel Diver.
Steel, okay.
Bought that because it was dirt cheap. And before I had the 3DS, I thought, I'll play that. I played it at launch, and it was okay. And yeah, it's okay. It's $5. But the one that's in the system now that I've been playing is the Star Fox remake.
Okay.
It's pretty good. There's a really nice multiplayer free roam combat that replaces the one that used to be on the N64 version. And I can't wait. I hope that I can play that with you then, Mike.
Is it online multiplayer?
I don't know. Let's find out. But
if it's online multiplayer, Joe, I will buy that game in a heartbeat.
Okay. The maps were really good for those online combat. It felt more like the levels were more vertical than just kind of an open area, and there were buildings and roads that crisscrossed and networked, so you're dodging in and out and trying to kill the other guy.
Are you playing it with the motion control or with just normal buttons?
Okay, this is my one thing. I want to line up some Nintendo designers and smack them one after another. Smack. Why would you put gyroscope controls on a system that you need to hold rock steady to see the 3D?
That's been everyone's complaint. I'm sure Nintendo's heard that.
No, I'm not using the gyroscope. It didn't add anything when I turned it on to 2D, and then it added absolutely nothing.
But you are using the 3D then?
What's that?
You are using the 3D then?
I am using the 3D when I'm not using gyroscope stuff.
Now, how quick does 3D drain the battery?
I've already had to charge it once, but that was from sitting in the store.
The battery life on the 3DS is like 4 or 5 hours.
And I wonder how it'll drain. I mean, if it's on Street Pass all day and, okay, full charge, put it on Street Pass, close it, put it in your pocket, and then walk around. I wonder how long that lasts.
Probably a little longer than 4 to 5 hours. I think it's 4 to 5 hours.
Looks like it's only
play.
local network. It's download play.
Oh, you know what that means?
That means that you don't have to have the game.
That's what that means. Here's the one interesting thing I noticed about the 3DS when I bought it, because I had a Vita already, and the Vita looks gorgeous, and the 3DS, the games can't compete with the Vita.
Mm-hmm.
But I did notice that when I was playing Luigi's Mansion and I was playing around with the 3D, because originally I just wanted to play the games, but I didn't care for the 3D. But I found that if I just turned the 3D on to like the lowest setting, like right before it clicks off, it added like a depth that would be there, like a graphical depth that would be there on a Vita game. Versus just playing the game in 2D. Like it looked really good. It still didn't look as good as a Vita game, but I could definitely see the appeal of a 3DS game in using subtle 3D. It made it a lot more fun to play, and it was really cool. Plus, Luigi's Mansion just looks really good. Anyways, it's so colorful, and it's it's whimsical. It's actually really funny.
Want to play it?
So maybe when you're done with Star Fox, maybe we can swap games. So I know you got the standard 3DS.
Not the XL.
I went with the XL because I like the finish on the XL and I like the size. And I do agree with you about the screen. Yeah, the screen is the same resolution, but the screen size is bigger and so the pixels are larger. But the thing is, I like the 3DS. I went with the 3DS XL because a larger screen makes the 3D more immersive. Plus, I don't have to hold it as close to my face to see anything, which then, the pixels end up being slightly smaller because they're farther away from my face anyways. My brother and sister both have the 3DS that you do.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't like the look or feel of that. It reminded me of the way that I felt with the first Nintendo DS. Like, it just looked ugly, and then they did the DS Lite, and it was like, this is what it was supposed to be. So that's one of the reasons why the XL appeals to me. Plus, it just feels better in the hand. It feels more substantial. There's a little more heft to it.
God, this feels better.
It does. It actually feels more like an adult toy than like a kid's thing.
But see that, Joe? He says your thing is for kids.
Hey,
that's actually what the 2DS is for. So maybe we're glad he didn't get that.
That'd have been funny. Here, take this tablet with buttons on it.
I would never. I mean, I will eventually to say, hey, it's on the shelf over there, but no.
Oh, you know what question they answered. We asked and someone did answer, and I completely forgot about it, but I'm thinking about it now. It was Joe's question.
I was wondering about that. Did nobody answer my question?
Nope, someone did. We can talk about that kind of because we're talking about, this stuff. King of Kongs, he answered. He said, if I was going to introduce someone to the current generation, it would be some type of open-based game like GTA. That, or maybe Uncharted because of its cinematic feel. Feels like you're part of a movie. I've thought the question that you posed, Joe, I've thought about that stuff a lot. Like, how do you show somebody a game that's never, like our age, that's never played one? And I don't know if I could start with anything right now.
I would have to go back and pick an older game.
I think I'd have to pick Mario. Like something, because a lot of like where we came up with games and the controllers got progressively more advanced, and
we learned with them.
Yeah, we got to learn with them. I think if you sit down and you put a controller in their hand that has 14 buttons on it, and each one of those buttons does something, and
each one of those buttons might do more than one thing depending on the context.
I feel like, I mean, I'm not disagreeing with what he said, but I would never do an open world game because even for me, like we all went through like the same rotation of games, but like I play an open world game, like I think GTA is like could be a little much, like
complex.
Yeah, not complex, but it could be overwhelming. It's like, where do I go? What do I do? What's this? Plus, first of all, and I'm saying GTA because that's the example he used. The interface in GTA, especially 5, is atrocious. Putting the text for stuff up in the corner of the screen where nobody can see it in like the smallest font available for like 5 seconds. So I can't, once I notice that it's there and I go to actually look at it, not only have I crashed into a telephone pole, but it's already gone. And it's like, what did you just tell me to do? I don't even know what you told me to do. Like, what happened to putting stuff? I mean, Grand Theft Auto does this sometimes, but what happened to putting all the information like in easily readable font in front of you while you're playing, so you know what you know what you're trying to do? That's just crazy. And like another game that I would never start somebody out with, is like an Elder Scrolls game or a Fallout. That's just like, what?
Only if they like pen and paper role playing games.
Yeah,
even at that point, I don't know.
But you're still setting them down, and you're still setting them down with a controller that has like 14 buttons on it.
Yeah.
I think
that was the moral of that question, though. I think
because we've grown up with these things, we've learned a lot of the earlier principles of video game design. I think if you're ever going to teach anybody how to do anything, you've either got to go really simple current gen or old gen where these rules are established. I mean, you put a controller in somebody's hand who's never held a controller before, they don't know that the A button on the Xbox or the X on the PlayStation is go forward in the menu, and that the B button or the circle is go back in the menu. They haven't learned that. We've learned that all the way back to Super Nintendo.
I had this issue. I babysat for this kid in the summer of 2004. And man, that was a great job. But he was 8 years old, and he didn't have video games in the house. And
snap.
So one day I brought over my GameCube. And I was like, we'll go to the store and we'll rent some games for you to play. And we rented Mario Kart Double Dash, and we rented the Wolverine game that came out, the X2 Wolverine or whatever it was. And we got back to his house.
Oh wait, Wolverine's Revenge?
Yes.
Okay.
And we sat down to play. I wasn't going to let him play Wolverine, first of all. That was for me. But I'm thinking, but I was thinking in my head, I was like, oh, Mario Kart. That's something simple, right? And
hold a button and steer.
I sat down to play it, and the last Mario Kart that I had played was, Mario Kart 64, and sat down to play it. And not only did I find it overly complex for a Mario Kart game, he couldn't even pick it up. And I was like, this is okay. So apparently I can't start him off with anything that's on the GameCube.
Yeah.
Like it's got to, honestly, it's kind of, you got to go back to that A is jump and was it B is run or B is shooting the fireball?
Yep.
Like, but at the same time, I think it has something to do with like growing up and watching people play games, because I don't think Graydon started with, like he didn't start with Mario. He started with like a Lego game. How would you? I wish kind of Danner was here for this conversation, but how would you do it, Joe? What are your plans?
With Oliver, when he is 5 years old, he and I are going to come down into this basement. I'm going to hook up the NES. Actually, I'm going to hook up the Odyssey 2 and really show him the old stuff. Atari Pac-Man, Mr. Muncher, and maybe we'll only spend a day on that goofing around, because maybe he'll be, oh my God, this is crazy. I can't believe video games. He'll probably see them at friends' houses and my whole plans will be ruined, but I want to start him out with the beginning. He's going to play Mario Brothers, and he's going to beat Mario Brothers 1 before I go get Mario Brothers 2. And he's going to beat Mario Brothers 2 before I get him 3.
Well, wait a minute. Are you going to make him like beat them like legitimately, or are you going to let him use warp zones?
Oh, of course he can use warp zones.
Okay,
I'm just beating them legitimately.
Okay, I'm just trying to gauge your cruelty here.
No. I mean, beating Mario Brothers 1 is cruel enough. But I beat that when I was 5 or 6 or 7 in that age range, and but I've so far I've done everything I can to keep him away from video games. I mean, I've studied enough child psychology, becoming a teacher, to know that one of the worst things you can do to your kid is shortening attention span and no delayed gratification. I mean, video games are much more ping reward, ping reward, ping.
That's
reward.
called ping achievement.
Yes, and I don't. That doesn't help anything with focusing and reading and anything like that. So I want to get him good and established before I start to pollute his mind with that. And I want to make sure that he's aware of why we don't do this and why we're taking our time with it. And he's pretty good at understanding and when I have to explain things to him like that. He's only 2.5 now, but I think he'll understand what I'm trying to do. I tell my middle schoolers now, they're about the study with SpongeBob and how they made the kids watch SpongeBob and then take a test, and they did miserably because it shortened their attention span. The same kids watched an episode of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, and then they scored better on a similar test. And it's just, I don't, I know how much that stuff will jack them up. So
I do love your explanation of what you're going to do with your kid to introduce him to video games. All I saw in my head was the scene with Marlon Brando and Christopher Reeve and Superman be like, as we journey through the history, 10 of your Earth years will have passed. Like,
we'll do it in a montage. So it won't take that
he's gonna come out the other side in a spandex suit with a cape, and it's gonna say "Gamer Boy."
Or he'll be down there going, Dad, I just want to go outside and throw a football. Okay.
Dad, I haven't seen the sun in 4 years. The sun has died. Good, quick. Get the raccoon suit.
All right, and that's it for this week's discussion. We'll get Danner, and when Danner comes back next week, we'll ask him about his, even though Graydon is already knee deep or ankle deep in some video games. But we'll get his input on that stuff.
I think the Legos games are right up there.
Yeah,
those are good.
They're good. It's not overly complex.
Yeah.
Batman and Robin was whatever that one I played with Graydon at the GameStop the one day. There were lots of buttons on there. Maybe the early ones not so much, but
if you start the game from the very beginning, it slowly teaches you. Like, it starts off where you only use 1 or 2 buttons, then it slowly builds onto it. Like, if you see one of these, this is what you should do. You should hit this button.
Yeah, but at the same time, you have the muscle memory to know what buttons those are. Whereas somebody that's like first grabbing a controller and sitting down, they see that stuff and then it's like, what button? What button did they tell me to push?
Horrible pain of, she won't listen to this, but my girlfriend, she wanted to play a video game with me, and I just got in Halo 4, and she's like, "Oh, I'll play that with you." Oh my god! So I'm like, okay. So I decided I was only gonna play. She's never played a twin stick shooter in her life. So I decided, like, okay, I'll only play the story with you. It is never taking me so long to beat a Halo story in my life.
There is
3 seconds in now. I didn't know she had never played a twin stick shooter. 3 seconds in, she's sprinting forward, looking straight up, going, "I don't know what to do."
That Jason, my friend Jason, his wife Katie, I had him and her come over after I'd gotten the orange box. And we were playing Team Fortress 2. And she was like, I want to play. So Jason and I kind of looked at each other because we know her history with first-person shooters. And so she's like, I was like, okay, who do you want to be? She's like, I want to be the medic. So I selected the medic and I gave her the controller. She spent the next 20 minutes of the match shooting needles at the ceiling. Because she couldn't figure out how to pull the reticle down. And it was even funnier too because you'd get the people in the game yelling medic, and she'd be like, "Where are you? I don't know where you are. I can't find you." And she'd be like, and you could see where she was. She'd be like at the corner. She'd be pressed up against a wall, staring at the ceiling because you could see the line in the ceiling of where the corner comes together. And she'd be like walking one way along it, and then you could tell she ran into a corner because there'd be 3 intersecting lines. It's like. We're just like, Jason are just like rolling on the floor laughing.
Like, this is rough. But we're not going to help her. The best advice I gave was, imagine the thumbstick is on the back of the person's head. But there's a stick. The stick sticking straight out of the back of your character's head, and your thumb is resting right on the back of that stick.
Sure.
That's really good. I'm going to steal that line.
If next time you're doing a first-person shooter, think about it. That's exactly. If I want him to look down, I press my thumb up.
Well, okay, yes, that is good for camera control, but technically your analogy is wrong because the camera is not in the player's head.
Isn't it?
No, it's not. No, the camera, the camera in first-person shooters is actually in your chest.
Yeah, because isn't that how they explain how like guns and stuff?
Yeah, that's how they explain the guns. There's only been. I could be wrong. There's one game that I can think of off the top of my head that actually has the camera in the head, and that is Mirror's Edge. All the other ones, the camera is in the chest.
Yeah, it's as far as you know, it's in your head, but the position of the rest of your body wouldn't match up.
Yeah,
you'd have your ears would be touching your shoulders.
Yeah. So
because you can see like your whole gun, and so that means you're running with your gun. You're like your right hand is like pressed right against your right shoulder, and you're running like that.
Yeah, I see.
yeah, I mean, so yeah, technically, yeah, the analogy is right. Yeah, you're what
You're controlling the head like that.
Yes, your analogy is correct, but the camera placement in the body is not actually in the head.
Oh no, it's
so.
Have you ever seen that? Like,
but you don't need to tell that poor new gamer that.
No,
they don't.
That'll just
unless you
out.
unless you think about it, you don't notice.
Yeah,
and you're kind of like, oh yeah.
I really want to give Jenny a twin stick shooter now and see what she'd do.
Be patient, whatever you do. Saying you're doing it wrong is apparently, from what I gathered, the wrong thing to say.
No, all you do is hand them the controller and put your hands over your mouth.
No, because my giggles escape.
Does anyone have a question for the listeners? We just need one.
I'm going to let you listeners off this week, but I'm going to come back with a whopper next week.
Oh.
Okay, I'll have one then. What is not the worst game, but what is the most infuriating game? Not because it was a bad game, just a game that just somehow what it did just pressed your buttons.
Wasn't that right up there with the most your controller throwing moments?
No, that was because it's just shittiness in games. I'm not saying like a game that you actually enjoyed playing, but just somehow it could piss you off. Like Candy Crush.
Okay. We'll take that one. If you want to get in touch with us and you want to leave us your answers to the questions, you can comment on our parent site at geekcastradio.com, or you can send us emails at feedback@geekcastradio.com. Just put off the cuff in the subject line. And just so everyone is aware, we are taking nominee lists for the 7th Gen Console Awards. We'll be doing that like the first week of November. The list will be...
get your votes in now.
Yeah, the category list will be posted in the episode post, and you can paste and copy that into an email and send it to us. And your answers will be tabulated with the rest of everything that we have, and we'll have the answers for you like the first or second week of November. You can find myself, Michael Powers, on Twitter and the PlayStation Network at Booth Ninja 81. Shanzi?
Yep, I've been Shanzi Brown. You can find me on Twitter at Shanzi Brown. You can find me on Xbox at Weapon87.
Joe?
You can find me on Twitter at Joe Reed Geek. You can also find me on the PlayStation Network at Wildfire405. How else can you find me? Oh yeah,
Wildfire.
Facebook at Geek Stuff Garage Sale. I love to hear from people there. So if any of you have tweeted me already, I don't know it yet because I don't know how to figure out that thing yet. But I'm working on it every day.
Oh, God.
All right. Until next week, there is no cow level. So don't stop talking.
Don't stop believing.
That's the only words I know to that
Hold
song.
on to that feeling.
That's excellent.
Those helmets, by the way, Joe, look fantastic.
Yeah. Thank you. They are a couple of days away from getting their glossy black spray paint. Oh wow, this works so much faster when I'm sitting next to my wireless router.
Yeah, that happens. All right, you guys ready to get this show on the road?
And indeed, sir.